we've had tea parties, and we participated in a few of them in other cities. Justin sent an email to some people last week and said, wouldn't this be a good idea to do this in Columbus? That email got forwarded to me, and I sent him back and said, I think it is a good idea. And within 2 hours, Justin had a Facebook page up and a couple hundred responses on it. It took me a week to get something back. So, it's remarkable. A couple of things before I really talk specifically about budgets and that. And I want to talk about the signs a little bit. These signs, the signs couldn't say it far better than I could say it. And you know, I like there's a young lady out here who's, "Dear Congress, your credit card has been canceled." She just pulled it down. Now put that back up again. "Dear Congress, your credit card has been canceled." Now turn it around. That's even better. Okay? There's a young lady over here who's struggling to hold up in the orange there. The little girl in the orange. Yours, hold it up. Do not tax children. That's exactly right. Right here, 4 years of supersize. Now it's time to downsize. This is it. Over here is "I am not your piggy bank." I love this one, "As long if you want to pay my mortgage." We need to take that. We need to do that. That's how this whole thing got started. You know, I'm sure everybody has seen Rick Santelli when he was, you know, in Chicago, do his little rant about, you know, who here wants to, you know, pay the guy's mortgage who got a loan that he couldn't afford. And that's how it got started. And you know, it's funny because it was somebody who was just there working, trying to make a living, who was the one who came out with this. It wasn't the public policy people or the politicians or that kind of thing. Somebody that actually had a job that sort of encapsulated this Tea Party idea, and it's a great idea. And so I think what we need to realize is that, you know, one more thing. We've had several great people speak here this morning. Congressman Jordan is a leader and is a courageous young man for the stance that he takes in Congress for, you know, our pocketbooks and for our future. And he takes that stand, and yes, I think, you know, because he's not safe within the party. If we think about this, you know, we've talked a lot about the president, and the president deserves an awful lot of criticism. But the fact of the matter is, this $400 and some odd billion, 80% of the earmarks in that bill were put there by the party that's supposedly the fiscally conservative party. And it's not like, you know, I mean, Democrats deserve a lot of the criticism, but, you know, I'm not sure maybe it's just the political class that deserves the criticism. And so I don't want this to sound like we're dumping, you know, on one particular you know, party or one particular person. It's the culture that we've got that's the problem. And when we talk about the state of Ohio, and we talk about the current budget that you know, that we find ourselves with, a phrase that I've always liked, you know, a guy who ran for governor a couple of years ago used to say, the status quo, that's just the definition of the mess we're in now. Well, the mess we're in now has been created over a very long period of time. And yes, based on the spending and based on this huge edifice that we've constructed, we have a multi-billion deficit. The governor has proposed a budget that's going to balance that deficit or close that gap using federal money. You know, this stimulus money is not coming free. It's coming with all kinds of strings attached. We'll have to change things that will require future spending and only make the budget mess worse. You know, this stimulus, you know, supposedly is only one time, and then what do we do? Well, the scary thing is maybe it isn't one time. Maybe it continues and continues and continues, and we just kind of wash away the state control over our spending, and it all goes to Washington. But in doing this budget, the governor came out with a no tax increase budget. What he didn't mention was there is about $1.25 billion, or more than $1.25 billion in revenue enhancements in that budget, which involve increasing fees on things. You know, there are fees on agricultural things that are being raised 500%. There are fees on watercraft registration, 650%. There's fees on nursing homes and hospitals and energy, coal and gas and natural gas and those kinds of things. These are just taxes. These, you know, we can't call them taxes anymore, so we're going to call them something else. The bottom line is we need the entire political establishment to stop trying to kid us. We're not their ATM anymore. The ATM is closed. We've run out of money. And frankly, it hasn't been until now that I finally have some hope that maybe things are going to change. You know, as Americans for Prosperity, I travel around the state and I talk to groups who are interested in these kinds of things. And 10 or 15 or 20 people who are interested and committed, and for better or worse, they're kind of political junkies like me. Since the beginning of the year when I go to meetings, it's 50 or 60 people. It isn't 10 or 15. Because people are concerned about their future. People want to know, how are we going to get out of this? When I joined AFP, I have a story about Ohio's tax situation is so bad that I retired as an investment advisor. When people would come to me for advice, the first piece of advice I would give them is move out of Ohio. And I'm serious. And then when our youngest daughter graduated high school, my wife and I said, well, should we take our own advice? And I said, no, we like it here. We're staying here. We're going to stay. We're going to make a stand. We're going to try to make Ohio better. Well, the trouble is, with what we're doing now, there's no place to move. You know, well, so what we need to do, but I'm encouraged because people are getting it. People are coming out. There was the event last night, apparently, that it was part of the Glenn Beck thing. You know, we have this Tea Party movement that we're seeing here. The question is now what do we do? Let's not have a great morning and cheer and look at the signs and go away and feel good about it. We need to do something. And there's a couple of things. There's three things actually, you know, that I'd like you to do. The first thing is I'd like you to, you know, think about this and go back to your home, go back to your community, and tell your neighbors and your kids and your parents and, you know, about this, and make sure that they know about it and that they come to the next one. The second thing you can do, and this is a little bit self-serving, but Americans for Prosperity has put up a website called feesauretaxes.com, and on feesauretaxes.com there will be information about all of the baloney that's in the Ohio budget. There'll be a place on the website for you to click a button and put your name and your email address and your zip code in, and that will act as an online petition that we will take to the governor and we will take to the General Assembly to tell them, don't do this. It's time for Ohio to live within its means. It's time to stop all this ridiculous spending and live within our means. Don't go taking money from out of the state that's just going to, you know, be more money and a bigger hole that we'll find ourselves in. Third thing you can do is come back. This movement will continue. There now is a plan to have gatherings like this, tea parties, in numerous states, or numerous cities all over the country on April 15th. We're going to come back on April 15th, and we're going to do it. I'd like to draw up this whole area, because frankly, when one of us calls, they don't pay any attention to us. When two or three of us call, it's whatever. When 100 or 200 or 500 or 1,000 people stand outside their building and say, we've had enough, you got to pay attention to us, you've got to change, they start to listen. And then they look around for the courageous leaders like Jim Jordan and like, you know, some of the others that we've seen, and they find some direction and they find some answers. So, again, I want to thank everyone for coming here. I want you to talk to your friends and neighbors and relatives. I want you to go online and sign our petition. You know, I would say that we had one for the stimulus package, and we got almost 500,000 signatures nationally on our petition. Now, it didn't stop it. It actually delayed it a little bit. I think we helped in the first round, but we've got some chance to stop some of these other of the 5 things that the Congressman Jordan talked about. but we can only do it with your help. And so, again, thank you very much. We'll be around, and